Horror is and has always been one of the most popular genres of film. From 1931's Dracula to 2023's Evil Dead Rise, audiences are enamored and will continue to pay for the privilege of being terrified. But have you ever asked yourself, why is it that we love to watch characters get stalked, slashed, haunted, and possessed? In this video, we'll be exploring the reasons behind why such gruesome and torturous works of art appeal to the masses, along with some recommendations for those looking to get their horror kick. Without further ado, this is why we love horror. There are quite a few psychological factors behind our enjoyment of horror films. One of these that really stood out to me is the theory of excitation transfer. In simple terms, this theory proposes that watching horror increases heart rate, blood pressure, and breathing, leading to a state of physiological arousal, and that after the film is over, the viewer's feeling of relief intensifies, which results in a feeling of euphoria. This sensation keeps us coming back for more. Another interesting way to understand our enjoyment of horror is learning what type of horror fan you are. Matthias Claesen, who is the director of a recreational fear lab in Denmark, identified 3 types of horror fans. These include adrenaline junkies, white knucklers, and dark copers. Adrenaline junkies are pretty straightforward in that they crave that thrill of being scared and even receive a mood boost from it. White knucklers are those who are more curious about just how much horror they can take. They want to learn their limits and experience how their body reacts. Lastly, there are dark copers, who are described as those who use horror to deal with the real-life issues that they may be facing in the world. Which of these 3 do you think you are? Did you know that horror fans have a greater psychological resiliency and a higher ability to regulate their negative emotions? There was a study conducted in 2021 that concluded that horror fans were less psychologically distressed during the early months of the 2020 pandemic. It was noted that those who consume horror content develop the ability to cope with high anxiety and stress-provoking situations. It can't be understated how much of a cultural impact horror movies have had, and how much of horror media is a commentary on the state of the world we are living in. Films like The Night of the Living Dead and Get Out reflect each time period's complicated dealings with race, class, and politics. Then you have films like Jaws, which comments on the greed of humanity, or American Psycho, with its take on rampant consumerism. These are themes that many viewers overlooked amongst the blood and guts being spilled, but those that really pay attention see themselves captivated by horror films' ability to tackle issues that many people are afraid to blatantly cover. Even beyond its social commentary implications, horror media's place in the cultural zeitgeist is solidified. The biggest horror films are an event to go see with all your friends and family. To this day, people still talk about where they were when The Exorcist came out, and how some people fainted during its premiere, or when The Blair Witch Project came out and people believed it was real footage from actors that died. Going to see a scary movie in the theater feels like a collaborative experience, as people's reactions in the theater range from audible screaming, nervous laughter, and loud silence. It's an experience that brings people together in a way that not many genres and forms of media can. It's for these reasons and many more that we love horror. And now, for some recommendations. For my recommendations, I decided to go with 5 films from 5 different countries to give you a varied experience. The Medium is a found-footage horror film from Thailand that combines spiritual traditions with an eerie and evil twist. It starts slow, but once it picks up, you'll experience a consistent sense of discomfort and anxiety as things get bleaker and bleaker for our shaman protagonist. If you're looking for a happy ending, you won't find one here, but the ride is well worth it, and it feels like a refreshing approach that found footage has needed for some time. You could argue that the most important part of found footage is the believability of the actions on screen, and this film really has you buying into our protagonist, Nim's, struggle to balance her beliefs with the disturbing events that begin to occur. Cure is a horror thriller from Japan that explores complex psychological themes which lead to a unique kind of tension that lasts throughout. The plot follows a detective investigating a string of murders in which the common theme is each murderer claims that they were compelled to commit the act by a mysterious man. This is one of the best detective versus killer films out there, and the unsettling atmosphere that director Kiyoshi Kurosawa creates is unforgettable. A horror from a part of the world that we don't often see it from, Iran's Under the Shadow is the perfect example of a horror film that acts as a political and cultural commentary on the times it was set in. It is the story of a mother and daughter whose home in 1980s war-torn Iran gets hit with a missile and afterward begin to experience supernatural occurrences. While many of the horror tropes are the same, the message it provides is a stronger indictment on the anxieties of war and the oppression of women. When discussing the best found footage horror films, you'll often find Spain's Wreck at the top of many lists. The premise is super simple in that it's a reporter documenting the night shift of the Barcelona Fire Department, and when accompanying them on a call to an apartment building, all hell breaks loose as they are trapped inside. This one doesn't take long to start moving, and when it does, it doesn't let up until the very end. It's claustrophobic, and the performances feel very real, which makes you all the more empathetic when witnessing the characters in a truly hopeless situation. Suspiria is the rare remake that does something original and succeeds at it. It's the story of an American dancer who joins an elite dance academy in Berlin, and while there, people begin to disappear and disturbing events begin to unfold. Fair warning, this is a very slow film, but it keeps your attention with its gorgeous cinematography and chilling set pieces. There's something for all types of horror fans to enjoy here, and the conclusion is one of the wildest I've ever seen. I can't recommend any of the films mentioned in this video enough, but if you're looking for something new, you have to go see the latest A24 banger called Talk to Me. It's a disturbing good time, and a sequel has already been announced. If you enjoyed this video, I have other interesting movie and TV related videos that you might like as well. If you want more content like this, feel free to like and subscribe. Have a great day.